All right. Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to call it opposing muscle forces because I don't know what to call it. But let me show you two types of throws to demonstrate it first. See if you can catch the difference. The first throw, or the first type, being like this. Okay. One more time. The second throw, the second type of throw, looks like this. One more time. See if you can catch the difference. I'm going to exaggerate a little bit. Now, if you caught it, that's great. If not, I'm going to explain it anyways. But what's happening is, in the first throw, I'm focusing on using my left side. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm focused on using my right side to lead the throw, right? And for some of you, what that might be is that you're pushing off your right foot to move your right hip forward. And if you're doing Skanf, then you're trying to use that to start the pulling motion on your elbow, on your wrist, onto the knife. But the problem is, if you're doing that, you can unintentionally turn the whole thing into a push if you're too focused on the right side of the body. In the second type of throw, what I'm doing is I'm using my left side to pull back, right, to generate this pulling force onto my right side. Now, before we get into that, let me go ahead and jump into a little bit of a biomechanics example here. If you want to contract your arm, you need to activate your bicep, which is the top muscle. So let's do the layout first. You have the top muscle, which is the bicep. You have a bone in the center, and then you have the bottom muscle, which is your tricep. If you want to do this, your top muscle has to activate, your bottom muscle must relax. You want to extend the arm, your bottom muscle needs to activate, it needs to contract, your top muscle needs to relax. So basically, anytime you want to do a motion, one thing has to activate, the opposite muscle has to relax. Similarly, we have our left side here, the central spine, and then the right side. If you use your right side to throw, like I'm pretty sure a lot of us do without thinking about it, we tend to move and put a lot of focus on pushing energy, whether we mean to or not. But how do we turn that into pulling energy? Well, if you focus on pulling your left side back, you immediately take off the thought of pushing with your right, off your right foot, right? Because now you're kind of just pulling and sinking, which then pulls your right side forward. And therefore your right hips pull forward, which then pulls your elbow, which then pulls the wrist. All you got to do is control the direction of that energy. If your right arm is fully relaxed, watch what happens when I do this motion. See all that energy? So that's when it's dead weight, fully relaxed. But now we want to control where we want the throw to be. And now it's fully pulling motion, right? Now I'm using the basic primary training from Skanf as taught to me by my teacher, Mikhail Bayev. So if you want to learn at a deeper detail, I suggest reaching out to him. And of course, you can also reach out to, I believe, Mr. Alexi Adam and Miss Olga Fedina, all great teachers. But for now, back on topic here. When you load up and you pull the left side, it then pulls your right side to launch the knife for you. Okay. Now, for some of you who are trying to do this advanced form of Skanf sidearm throwing, where you do something like that, right? Where you're snapping off from the side and you don't really extend the arm in front too much. How do you utilize the left side? Well, when you first start with the primary basic extended form, notice I lead with the elbow, then the shoulder and the hips follow after, and it's a pretty big exaggerated motion. But as you start getting to tighter motions, you're going to transition from you leading with the elbow to just leading with the hips completely. So I would say, from my experience, when you start, lead with the elbow first, because it feels very obvious. As you advance or get better, try to move the elbow with the shoulder and the hips as one motion, maybe with a little bit of elbow movement to start the motion again, kind of kickstart it, and then everything else follows through. but it's tighter. But then eventually start with the hips instead. Bypass even worrying about the shoulder, because by doing this, you immediately pull on the right hips too, right? So all you got to worry about is just loading it up and then pulling with the left hip to pull the right hip and launch this knife. And there you go. Bad throw. One more time. Okay, so pulling accordingly. Ooh, that didn't come out good. Let's try it one more time. Okay, well, it is what it is. Knife throwing is a dangerous activity, so if you're going to try this, do so at your own risk. But with that said, if you're going to give this a try, it's a new perspective on how you can throw, learning more about your body mechanics. If you're going to give this a try, do it with safety, but I hope you have fun and enjoy. I'll see you next time.